So hey guys, Zach here today, and today I'm going to go through my 2019 NFL playoff predictions. So we're just going to get right on into it. We're going to start with the AFC side of things, and then work our way over to the NFC side. So the first game I'm going to go through here is the 4th-seeded Houston Texans and the 5th-seeded Buffalo Bills. And in this game, I'm going to pick the 4th-seeded Houston Texans to win at home and knock off the Bills. The Texans, again, they have a very special young quarterback in Deshaun Watson who can make an incredible plays for their offense. He can do so much for them, extending plays and making big throws. So I think they're going to be okay. Their offensive line could be the liability for them, but I feel that with Watson, he'll be able to extend plays and move around, that he can mask those flaws. Their defense is good. They have some playmakers, Whitney Merciless, Zach Cunningham, Justin Reed, and then they're also getting J.J. Watt back. Again, he hasn't played in quite a while, so he may be a little rusty, but could still be a difference maker for them. With the Bills, again, I think in this game they're gonna have to really lean on their defense. Josh Allen would have to be very, very good for them to win. He'd have to be very accurate. He couldn't be taking bad risks, making bad throws, decisions. He'd have to be very, very efficient, which he really isn't yet in his career. Again, they would need a couple huge plays to keep them in the game, and I just don't see it. I think they have a strong defense that will cause Deshaun Watson some problems, especially with their O-line. I don't think it's too good. But I think at the end of the day, Watson makes a couple more plays and the Bills can make on offense, and the Texans will be able to move on. So for the second wildcard game, we have the 3rd-seeded New England Patriots taking on the 6th-seeded Tennessee Titans. Again, in this game, I'm going to pick the experienced reigning dynasty in the NFL, the Patriots, to beat the 6th-seeded Titans here. Again, the Patriots are still a 12-4 team. They're elite defensively. They've been, again, not as great recently, but they've still been good over the duration of the season. Again, offense has been shaky during the season. They've had a couple good games here and there. They played very good against the Bills recently, who are, again, I think, a very good team, especially defensively. This game will be really a test for the Pats. They're going to have to protect Tom. They're going to have to make sure that the receivers are on the same page and they're getting the ball out on time. The receivers are where they're supposed to be. If that happens, I don't see them losing this game at all. The Patriots receivers have to catch the ball, they have to get open, they can't drop any balls, they can't have any mistakes. That's the big thing. They got to reduce those mistakes. Brady's got to be clean, he's got to be efficient, and he can't make any bad decisions. He's got to be pretty smart with the ball. I think defensively, the Pats are to make sure that they stop Derrick Henry from blowing the game open. They got to make sure that he stays in check, make Tannehill try and beat them. Their only real weapon they have is A.J. Brown, so I think if you can try and take him out of the game and make one of their other receivers do some damage, I think that's their best bet. Again, Ryan Tannehill has really not much experience in the playoffs, so I'm not really worried about him if you're the Patriots. So, man, make sure Derrick Henry doesn't run all over you. Make sure you shut him down, and then that's your best bet. So with the Titans, again, the one thing they have going for them is they've been really hot of recent. They've had Derrick Henry been one of the best running backs in the league. He's been gashing teams. Once he gets to second level, he's a tough guy to bring down. Again, they have to make sure they can play off of Derrick Henry. They're a very good play-action team. I think they lead the league in yards per play-action attempt. So, again, that's going to be their best bet, is having a stacked box with Henry, going play-action, and getting hopefully some big plays over the top to counteract the Patriots. That's their bet. Tannehill making a couple of those big throws, but we'll see how it goes. Again, my prediction, the Patriots win this game. Maybe not a blowout, maybe not decisive, but I think it should be a comfortable win. Again, I'm taking Brady with all of his experience over Tannehill. Tannehill's been hot, but it's a 1-1 game scenario. Brady's seen so much, and he's done so many things, I can't pick against him. I don't trust the Titans in a big spot. I think they're a hot team, but I just don't trust them in the playoffs here. Patriots should play well enough and advance to the next round. So we head to the divisional round. We'll start off here with the 1st-seeded Baltimore Ravens taking on the 4th-seeded Houston Texans. Ravens' Cinderella season continues here. They're playing at home. They've had a week off of extra rest and preparation. I don't think this will be a close game at all. They've already played once before in the regular season, and it was pretty much a Ravens blowout. I don't think the Texans defensively will be able to contain Lamar Jackson. I think Jackson really needs to go with what works. If it's running out of the pocket for 10 yards and rushing for 80, 90 yards in the game, so be it. This team is they can beat you in so many different ways. They can go deep, they can go short passing game, they can pound the football, they can run outside with Jackson, they can pound with Ingram, Gus Edwards. They can do so much with you. But I think they really should focus on running the ball like they've been doing all year. I think they need to focus on that and make sure they can just run through teams. Again, chew the clock, which is what they do, long drives, getting touchdowns. That's what they need to focus on. And again, I think their defense is pretty good. They've been one of the top units in the league, very good secondary, a really good defensive front. I think to be able to contain Deshaun Watson. But it'll be a good matchup, I think. So then with the Texans, I think Deshaun Watson will have to be absolutely exceptional. He'll have to make multiple big plays, convert a lot of tough, maybe third and longs. He'll have to be very, very good, and they'll have to make a lot of plays to be in this game, I think. Especially on the road, tough environment to play in. I don't know how well they'll do. Again, I don't trust the Texans in key spots. Bill O'Brien's been a questionable clutch scenario coach with the clock, play calling, and certain things. I just don't trust them. I think the Ravens are a battle-tested team. They got a lot of veterans on that team. I like them over the Texans, who pretty much have Deshaun Watson on offense and DeAndre Hopkins. That's about it. I don't think that they'll be able to move the ball too much. And I think that O-line will really be a turnstile against the Ravens. So again, my prediction, the Ravens roll, build the hype back up after they've had a couple weeks off and not playing. The Texans O-line will be, I think, a huge eye-opener as how poor they are. And the Ravens get to move on, host the AFC title game next week. So, and the other teams that are playing will be the second-seeded Kansas City Chiefs hosting the third-seeded New England Patriots. Again, I think on each side of the playoff bracket, and usually each conference, there's one upset or surprise that no one really saw coming. And I really think if this is how it plans out, this will be the big game. It's going to be the Patriots upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs at home. And again, it's tough to pick against the Chiefs here with that extra week off, the extra week of preparation. Again, you don't know who you're going to be playing, so you can't really prepare for one team. But I think with Andy Reid having that extra week, he'll be able to really game plan a lot of things in there. Again, Patrick Mahomes, tough to pick against him. He's the most special quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, I think he took the title from Aaron Rodgers. He's got one of the most insane arms ever. And then they also complement him with tons of electric weapons, Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman, Tyreek Hill. And they've got a bit of a running game going this year, which has been a lot more beneficial for them. Their defense has been better of late, but again, in the playoffs, in a single game, I just don't trust them. I don't think they have the amount of discipline to be really, really good defensively, so I wouldn't pick them on defense to be having a solid game. But again, they gotta rely on Patrick Mahomes making a couple big plays, scoring quick, because that's what they do really well. They'll get a couple huge chunk plays, and then they'll throw a 60-yard touchdown on you. I think that's going to be what they hope to get against the Patriots here. So with New England, I think they have to play almost the exact opposite. Instead of big plays, I think they want to completely chew the clock, keep Mahomes off the field. And Brady has to be, same with their previous game, they have to be on. This team has to be clicking on offense. They can't have drops. They can't have miscommunications. They have to be on the same page. Everyone knows what they're doing, and they need to work their system to perfection. That's going to be, I think, the only way to beat the Chiefs. They can't beat them. They don't want to beat themselves. They want to be beat by the Chiefs. They need to play the best football they can play. On defense, Patriots again have a really good unit. They played very well earlier. Their previous meeting, which was very close, was a one-possession game. They didn't play well in the first half, but second half, the Chiefs only scored 3 points. So I think if the Patriots can play that similar kind of defense where they're not letting the Chiefs really just blow them out, I think that's going to be their best bet, is they play a good lockdown defense, and they're not letting the Chiefs get big plays over the top. So again, my prediction, finalize here. Patriots upset the Chiefs at home. It's going to be the shocker pick. Everyone's been trying to put the nail in the coffin on the Pats. I don't think it happens yet. I think the Patriots stun the Chiefs. Brady makes a clutch appearance. He comes back. I think it's be a close game, one-possession game, down to the wire. Could be one of those last-second field goals, touchdowns. I think it'll be probably one of the best games of the entire postseason if it happens. And again, I'm going with the Patriots there. So then the AFC Championship game will be another rematch. It'll be the number 1 seed Ravens hosting the third-seeded Patriots. Again, I think the Ravens is just kind of their Cinderella year. It's just their year. It feels like it. You have your MVP of the league. They've pretty much been unstoppable since, late September, where they've reeled off 12 straight wins. Again, Lamar Jackson should be able to make enough plays. I think the Patriots will play them a lot better than they did earlier in the season. I think it should be a closer game. But again, I'm going to pick the Ravens here. Lamar Jackson should be able to make plays. They're going to get him, I think, running the ball a lot more. I think they're going to just rely on his strengths. And in a tough scenario in the playoffs, I think they're going to rely on what he's most comfortable doing. Then on defense, I think the Ravens are going to make sure they can get after Brady, make sure he's not you knock his rhythm off. It's going to be really really tough for him to make plays with such a rhythm timing offense. They run with short passes and the right timing and everything. They want to be on schedule. If you can mess up that timing, they're not going to be able to perform as well. So with the Patriots, again, they have to try their best defensively to contain Lamar Jackson. Very tough. Best thing they can do is keep him in front of them. Don't, if you're rushing the passer, have your ends stay home. Don't be going too deep because he'll just burn you right up the field. Again, with Brady, they need to keep him upright. If you have to keep multiple blockers in to help keep off the rush, they're going to have to do that. They need to be able to have him have time to throw and have his guys get open. So again, he's going to have to get the ball out quick if they're getting a lot of blitzes. They're going to have to be able to have his outlet guys open. But again, the receivers and Brady and the O-line, their whole offense has to be on the same page, being efficient. I want to say it's going to be a better game than it was in the regular season, but I really think the Ravens will be able to pull away early. Patriots could maybe come back, make it a close game, but I don't think it'll be enough. I think the Ravens are too good, too dominant. So the Ravens I have winning the AFC and making it to Super Bowl 54. So we move over to the NFC side of things, and we'll start with the first wildcard game. We have the 4th-seeded Philadelphia Eagles hosting the 5th-seeded Seattle Seahawks. So Eagles are probably the luckiest team this year. They've been completely just decimated by injuries all over the place. Injury bug really hit them hard this year again. Carson Wentz carried them into the playoffs. They kind of got a little lucky with the Cowboys just imploding late in the year. They had such an easy chance to win the division and make it in the postseason, but they couldn't do it. None of that matters now. It's a new season. They're back in it. But again, with the Eagles, they're going to be without Lane Johnson. They're probably best offensive lineman. He won't be playing. They're down a ton of receivers. I just can't see them coming back and doing anything in the postseason. I just don't see it. I think Wentz will have a chance. He'll keep it close, but it's not going to happen. I have the Seahawks winning here. Seattle, again, I think they're a healthier team. I like Russell Wilson, who's been in these playoff moments before. Carson Wentz making his first ever start. I'm going to take Russell Wilson, who's done it, been there, done that. He should be able to make a lot of big plays and big throws against this Philadelphia secondary. I think the Seahawks, everyone's been hyping up Marshawn Lynch. I think in the clutch, short yardage scenarios, I think they'll really rely on him to get that 3rd and short or trying to get a first down, or try and get a goal line touchdown. I think that's what they should be doing, getting him involved there. But I really think Seattle, even they've been a really good road team. They beat them previously in the regular season. I think Seattle makes a couple more plays, and the Eagles just, I don't think, have the talent on their team with all the injuries to combat the Seahawks. So our next game, we have the 3rd-seeded New Orleans Saints hosting the 6th-seeded Minnesota Vikings. Again, the Saints seem to be firing on all cylinders right now. Breeze looks like he's 30, not 40. Those couple weeks in the middle of the year he had off, I think, actually really helped him. He's looking really sharp. He's been really good with the football. He's been very efficient. Lots of weapons. Key with Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. If they can get those guys going here, I don't think it'll be a close contest. Their defense has been playing very good this year. Kind of, again, just every level's been playing well. They haven't had any just star players break out. They've had just a good unit play. Again, I think it'll be a tough matchup for them against the Vikings, who, again, are very similar, have players all over the field that are good. There's really no holes with the Vikings, so I think the Saints will be in for a tough matchup, but I will pick the New Orleans Saints to win this game. With the Vikings, again, they're a really good 6-seeded team, being a 10-win team. I think they're very they're kind of at a disadvantage with the Packers being really good, but to have to play in the wild card on the road. But again, the big thing this game's going to come down to, it's Kirk Cousins, never been a good spotlight primetime quarterback. He has a chance to change his entire career outlook if he could pull this one off. Again, I don't see it. You're going to have Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook playing hurt. I don't see them having enough firepower to beat the Saints at home, playing in the Superdome. It's not going to happen. Again, I think it'll come down to Cousins. Can he make the plays, or is he going to shrink under the pressure like he's done numerous times? So again, my prediction, Saints win. Great home field advantage. I think they're the healthier team, and Drew Brees is a much better clutch quarterback. He's going to make the plays when you need them. Where Kirk Cousins, I don't think you can trust him at all in these big games. Most likely you'll see him be choking in the spotlight. So we have our next divisional round game. We have the 1st-seeded San Francisco 49ers hosting the 5th-seeded Seattle Seahawks for their 3rd meeting of the season. They split them down the middle, 1-1 this year. I think one of the best rivalries in the NFL is the San Francisco 49ers and the Seahawks. Tough games they've played this year. Down to the wire, one-possession games. Very dramatic kind of games. With the Niners, I think we have a great coach, great roster, great weapons all over the field. One of the best put-together football teams, especially this season, the way they're performing. The real question with them, I think, is still Jimmy Garoppolo. His first full year playing. Will he be able to come through? Will he be able to make the plays that are necessary to win in the playoffs? They are playing at home, which is a benefit, but again, somewhat unproven compared to the Seahawks there. The Niners themselves, again, the roster's been playing very good, but again, not a playoff-tested team other than maybe Richard Sherman who's been there and done that with the Seahawks, apparently. Again, I think their O-line will need to really hold up and play very well to let Jimmy do what he can do. If the Seahawks can get him off balance, I think it'll be a tough game. And then with the Seahawks, again, I think Russell Wilson, he'll have to be Russell Wilson. He'll have to be making incredible plays, running with his legs. He could be the leading rusher for his team, I think, because they don't have anyone else with Carson and Penny being hurt. Again, he's going to have to move around, extend plays. And I think they're going to have to get a couple big breaks, a couple big plays, either a couple huge touchdowns or huge penalties or something to go in their favor to keep them in the game, because I think the Niners have a better roster, but I think the Seahawks have the better quarterback that can get it done. So like I said earlier, I think in each conference, usually there's one game that's the shocker or the upset pick. So I'm taking the Seahawks over the Niners. I think it's going to be a close game between the two. We've had two previous games come down to the wire. But I think in this game, I think Seattle, I think they've got the hunger and the drive to knock off San Fran. I think it's going to be a late, close game. But I think the Seahawks will be able to make the plays to knock the Niners out of the playoffs. So our other divisional game, we have the second-seeded Green Bay Packers hosting the third-seeded New Orleans Saints. So again, I think this game comes down to a couple things, and it's mainly where it's being played. I think home field is going to be a huge, huge advantage in this matchup, and the Packers having the extra week off, I think is going to be huge for them. With Aaron Rodgers, again, he should be fired up for this game. This is his first time back in the playoffs last couple of years. I think he's going to kind of show everyone, like, hey, don't forget about me. I'm still the man. Again, I think they can match up very well with the Saints' offense on defense for the Packers. They have a lot of good corners, good secondary. They just have to be able to shut Michael Thomas down, because that's the Saints' predicated offensive passing game, is getting him the football. If they can kind of reduce how many catches he can make, I think they could really slow him down. And then on offense, I think Rodgers really needs to be accurate. He needs to have time. He needs to be classic Aaron Rodgers. He's got to, when it breaks down, he's going to have to create some plays to knock off the Saints here. New Orleans, again, I think it's going to be very tough for them going from the Superdome, playing inside, to playing out in Lambeau, which is probably going to be freaking snowing. Breeze, again, he's going to have to try and get into some sort of rhythm. I think Alvin Kamara needs to get the football. They need to have him running, short passing game, getting him the football. That'll be their best bet on offense, because it'll be tough to throw in the cold conditions. Breeze, his stats really dropped dramatically playing in outdoors compared to the Dome. And then on defense, I think their best bet is to try again and pressure Rodgers, get him off rhythm, get him running around, and try and reduce the amount of completions he can get. So again, in this game, I'm going to take the home team. I'm taking the Packers winning at Lambeau, out in the cold. It's going to be a great game. We're having two of the all-time greats in Breeze and Rodgers playing. It'll be a great game to watch, but I think the Packers win close at home, and they're going to get to host the NFC Championship game the week after. So that leads to the second-seeded Packers hosting the fifth-seeded Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Championship game. A rematch of the 2014 NFC Championship game where the Packers fell short to the Seahawks. So again, with the Packers, they're going to get home field again, playing out in the cold. They've had one less game to play, as they only have to beat the Saints to get to this game, which I think is going to really help them being more healthy team. Rodgers at home is a different animal. They have a multitude of weapons with Devontae Adams, all their other younger receivers who they can all make plays here and there. Aaron Jones has been one of the best running backs. Jamal Williams has been phenomenal when he gets in the game. And again, also, this is could be a big legacy moment for Aaron Rodgers, a chance to get back in the Super Bowl. He's only been to one, so I think he should be thinking about his legacy, that, hey, if we can really pull this one off, I may be getting a little more spotlight here, which I think he's been missing the last couple of years with some other young stars taking over. Seattle, again, I think the health could be the deciding factor. They've been pretty banged up coming into the playoffs, and again, having them win 2 road games, I think they're going to be fighting on fumes. I don't think they got much left after that tough one against San Francisco. So again, tough to win 3 road games in a row in the playoffs. Russell Wilson would have to be absolutely perfect. He'd have to be making huge throws over the field, no turnovers, no fumbles, no picks, nothing. They need big plays, no mistakes, and I don't think that would happen. They'd have to push Green Bay around, and I think having 2 extra games played, both on the road, I think would be very tough for them to do, to try and create that physical environment. I just don't see it happening. So my prediction, the NFC Championship game, I have the Packers knocking off the Seattle Seahawks at home. Their home field advantage, I think, would be too much for the Seahawks to overcome out in the cold. That would lead the Green Bay Packers to face the Baltimore Ravens in Super Bowl 54. And with this game, I think it'd be a very interesting matchup. You'd have the new face of the league, Lamar Jackson, and these hotshot Ravens against kind of one of the former face of the league, I'd say still face of the league, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I think it would be a very interesting matchup. I would like to say the Packers would be able to make it a really close game, but I just don't see it. I think the Ravens win the Super Bowl. It seemed like their Cinderella season. Lamar Jackson has been so dominant. This team has been very physical. And that's been the Packers' flaw this year, is they've seemed to be more of a finesse team, or when the game gets really, really physical and tough, they seem to kind of back down, and they played the Niners earlier this year, and it wasn't a real contest. San Francisco pushed them around. I think this game, the Ravens pound the football on Green Bay, they chew the clock, and I think the Ravens win this pretty convincingly. Rodgers gets a second chance at a Super Bowl. I think this Ravens team will just be too much for them to handle, but I think it'll be a good game if it comes down to this, but I will take the Baltimore Ravens to win Super Bowl 54. Lamar Jackson maybe wins the Super Bowl MVP. Maybe it's Mark Ingram or maybe a defensive player. I don't know, but I think the Ravens are probably the best team in football, and I think by far they're the best team in the NFL. So, that was my predictions. If you guys have anything else you could add or change, let me know in the comments below.